We as INFJs have made it a point to really empower ourselves in the last year. So you'll see videos on INFJs being a warrior, INFJs really going through the mud and coming out on the other side of it. We know what we're capable of. We know how hard we can actually work on ourselves and what things we can survive. But the truth is, most people outside of the INFJ community still think of us as nice empaths, as people they can push around. And even more than that, they so often see us as the perfect canvas for the projection. Most of the time, it is the innocent, the gullible, the nice, the empath, the person we can use. But that's not always the case. The moment the INFJ stands up for themselves, the projection turns around and we become the villain, we become the bully, we become the person who's not only weird, but has bad intentions all the time. So today, let's talk about how to get people to stop projecting onto us once and for all. Before we get started, I have two amazing Black Friday offers for you, valid until the end of the month. And the first one is about our INFJ Epic Life Bootcamp. We're going to talk about INFJ physical energy management this Saturday, so November 29th. And the Black Friday offer is that if you join until then, you get the financial abundance course for INFJs for free. So this is the best Black Friday offer I have had yet. And the other one is if you decide to get the financial abundance course, then you'll get the 10 principles on energy management for INFJs for free. You can get both offers through the link in the description. Enjoy, and remember, this is an offer only valid until the end of the month. Why people project onto INFJs? Well, the first reason is that we pick up emotional cues very easily, and we do this on autopilot. So of course, if you're able to pick up, 95% of information from another person in comparison to somebody else who only picks up, let's say 50, I'm exaggerating here, but you get the point. Like if you're able to pick up nuances from another person, they directly see you more of a mirror of themselves, and they get drawn to you. That does not mean that people necessarily want to be friends with you or that they like you or that they don't like you, but most of the time we evoke in other people a strong reaction because they can project onto us. They're able to get so much of their information out onto our canvas, so to say. And you have to remember that a lot of it is in our control. So if you first recognize that one of the main reasons is the fact that we can pick up what they're mirroring back to us. And I'm not saying you should stop this or that you have to think about it with every conversation that you have. We're going to talk about how to reverse it in another way, but just be aware. If somebody gives you some information and you can pick up so much more than somebody else, of course, people are going to be drawn to projecting even more onto you. It's like if they meet somebody else and they feel like that person is only interested in their own story, in how they're going through life, they have no ability to even pick up who the other person is. And then the INFJ comes along, and if they like it or not, they're mirroring something back to them. Sometimes it's even their insecurities. They see themselves for the first time to such an extent because of the INFJ. This doesn't always feel good. Sometimes it's exactly that which triggers such strong reactions in others because we actually just become a mirror. And we become a mirror to something that up until that point, they felt like nobody is able to see but themselves. And through your reaction towards them, they actually see that what they've tried to hide all their life is not as subtle as they thought. We as INFJs, we also empathize deeply, meaning if we want to, we can really dive deep into another person's inner world. It is not something that we're capable of, it's something that we like to do. It is a lot of fun. It makes us feel all of our capacity because very often we don't get the chance to do that. And this is our domain. We can really dive deep with other people. I've said it in one of the last videos. It's like breathing underwater. It's something that we can do, and we can do this without losing ourselves. But the problem is that if people see an out, if they see that an emotion or a trauma or some kind of sensation they're not able to work through themselves, and then they see some kind of way to relieve them of this pain, they're going to, push it out even more. Similarly, like if you're in a desert and you just see like a little bit of water, you're going to go all out and you're going to do everything in order to get that water. That's how it feels to a lot of people if they encounter an INFJ who's actually open and wants to help them. Well, we have to recognize though that this is a pit without an end. If a person hasn't learned how to deal with those emotions themselves, they're going to continuously create chaos in their life and think you're the outlet for it. And they're not going to be even aware of it. Because what the INFJ becomes at that moment, and without the INFJ very often realizing it or the other person realizing it, we become an extension of their internal world, and they feel they can just, let it all out, everything that they felt like they needed to hide for so long. And the other reason why people love to project onto INFJs, and this is actually going to be the key to everything, is that we like to stay quiet. We are observers. We have learned that when we stay quiet, people reveal to you who they are. And this is a great strategy. Like everybody will teach you this. Just, stand still, like don't say too much. People will actually show you who they are. And when you have information, you're more equipped to handle any situation. It can go overboard though, because if you never show a boundary to a person, if you don't show your strength, if you don't show where they have finally crossed you to a point where there's no return, then they're going to continue. Not even necessarily because they're bad people, but because it's in human nature to kind of like want to figure out where another person's boundaries are. And they want to figure out how far can I take this? How far can I really, be that version of myself and the other person accepts it? And as INFJs, if we think like, well, I am strong enough to take it, I see that you're struggling. Apparently, this is a big deal for you. We're definitely not going to have like a big outburst because we just are not affected to that extent. But at some point we are, because we see that that person will just not stop. And believe it or not, this is all part of projection. There's a reason why we as INFJs experience this more often than other people. Everybody wants to project. This is a human thing that is happening because our mind needs simplicity. We need to make things as simple as possible in order to survive in a world full of information. So everybody, not just others, INFJs as well, will take on only the information that they think are necessary to confirm what they believe about the other person. And if, a person has decided that you are the villain, the empath, the person that is gullible, whatever they want to believe, if they have decided that in their mind, then they're only going to pick up that information that mirrors that reflection back to them. And in particular, they're going to choose that version of you that they want to see that makes them feel good about themselves in comparison. And so if a person can only feel good about themselves if they make you the bad guy, if they make you out to be the villain, then that's what they're going to assign to you. And they're going to continue this because admitting to themselves that maybe they did something wrong is too hard on their ego of being a good person, of not having done anything that is morally unethical or whatever it may be. And all of these points actually lead to a reality where the INFJ is seen for everything but themselves. And I've been there and I haven't even recognized it. Because for me, I thought I don't need you to see how selfish I am about certain things, how ambitious I am about other things, how strong I am in this one context. Because what I'm really good at is making you shine. That's one of my superpowers. That's something I love to do. And it's a skill. And so if we lean into this direction, of course, people are not going to be able to see who we really are. And we actually make it really easy for them to project onto us whatever they want. The turning point. So this turning point for a lot of INFJs has really been a breaking point, but it doesn't have to be. For me, it was a breaking point. It was the moment I recognized I will not change that person's mind. I will not get them to see things from my perspective. And no matter what I do, no matter how much I try to show that I had no bad intentions, if they have made up their mind that I'm the bad guy, if they've made out their mind that I'm stupid, if they made out their mind that I'm irrelevant, then they're going to stick to it. And I will not find a way to convince them otherwise. People will think of you whatever they want, and at the end of the day, it's none of your business. You can, however, change how you feel about yourself. Because there's one thing that we as INFJs have to remember first and foremost. We can hold on to who we are for a long time, but we're not indestructible. Meaning, if you're around family members, if you're around colleagues, if you're around, like, let's call them friends or whoever you are around, even energetically, like, let's say you're in a Facebook group and everybody is acting towards you in a way that doesn't make you feel good, like, even that we should not neglect. Because if you stay in these environments and you don't change anything about your behavior, then guess what's going to happen? You're going to absorb their negativity. There's no way out. Like, we have to fill up our space. And if we don't fill it out with what we express, with who we become, if we don't actually create, let's say, a space that's just for us, right? We just say, this is who I am. And like, I'm just stating this part is mine. We automatically are going to absorb how other people see us, even if we think we can hold on to who we are for the longest time. Yes, we can, but it still affects us. And we should not be negligent about it. We should understand that we too have our limits and we have to change something about this. And then, and this is equally as important, what you cannot do is just constantly avoid the situation. You cannot just say, oh, I'm just going to leave that Facebook group. I'm going to stop talking to that friend. I'm going to change my job because my colleagues are toxic. Yes, you can do this at some point, but if you don't change how you talk to every single person in your life, then those dynamics will just repeat themselves. Because what has to change is that we say, I'm not going to be a supporting character in somebody else's movie anymore. I'm going to be the lead character in my movie. I'm going to create a life that is exciting to me, and I'm going to focus on bringing that to the outside. Because if you come out as somebody who doesn't feel guilty anymore about how you treated somebody because you already, said sorry and you changed your ways and you're not allowing them to bullying you anymore, right? At that moment, that person cannot put on you the story of, oh, but you're just a bad person and, I'm going to make you feel bad. They also can't look at you as, oh, you're just the innocent bystander who doesn't do anything if you take charge of your life. Projection can only really happen if you give people a blank space for it, right? There has to be a canvas. If you don't say anything, they can assume whatever. If you make it a point to express yourself, it actually takes away other people's choice to project onto you to a big extent. You can't change another person's mind by kind of like creating this dynamic and then bending and trying to convince them. No. But if you completely remove that person from your story while being part of their story, meaning if you have a coworker and you actually show up at work and you are all about it and you put yourself in the center of your life and you're excited about the progress you're making, that person cannot continue to see you as their sidekick. It's just not possible. They either have to disengage, so they have to remove themselves from that dynamic, or they have to deal with the fact that you're not the person that they thought you were and that they could boss around and project onto whatever they felt like. How INFJs reclaim themselves. So the most important thing is stop hinting. People don't get it. So often I felt like, well, I've given enough hints for that person or anybody to understand what I'm about. No. As I said, people are not going to look for ways to understand you. And it's also not about like making it so obvious in order to convince somebody of somebody else. You don't have to perform being successful, right? This is not about, oh, I'm going to have a private Instagram account and I'm going to document what I do every day so I look successful, for example. If this is nothing you're interested in, like that's not the point. But the point is to be bold about your choices, to not hide them, to not say like, oh, if I express all of them, I will cause too much chaos. I will actually repulse everybody in such a way that they don't want to be around me. Let them be repulsed. Let them take a step back. Let them get to a place where they know the only way they could ever have a relationship with you again is if they meet you the way you want to be met. You have a certain way of how you want to view yourself, what archetype you lean to, what makes you feel complete, and your actions back this up. This is not just about an identity shift. It's about anchoring in who you are into the real world. So that means changing your job into something that is more fulfilling, or saying, I'm doing this job so I can pay my bills, but I'm actually going to additionally talk about the things that matter to me, or I'm going to join the organization and be part of something that matters to me. I will not keep quiet. I will create the life that I see fit. Because so often we as INFJs, we have this ideal world in our mind, and it feels like it's something that's going to stay hidden away forever. But it doesn't have to be. But it's on us to build that bridge. And the more you express yourself one way or another, the less people are going to be able to project onto you. So for example, when I started doing this channel, so many people in my life changed their perception of me. They weren't watching my videos. They don't understand what I'm doing here, but they saw, oh, okay, apparently I don't fit into the box that they assigned to me. They also saw that I work on something that I'm passionate about, and I'm consistent about it, and I'm proud of it. So this is just one example of how I bring who I am to the outside. And of course, I was afraid of the reaction, but I also knew this is part of who I am. And if people don't like me for who I am, then, that's just what it is. I'm not going to be liked for somebody that I'm not anymore. Like, this chapter is over. And the more you actually lean into this, and that does not mean that you have to start a YouTube channel or that you have to publish your book or whatever it may be. It's about making choices in your life that are a representation of who you are, being willing to be judged for them, not hiding them, not hinting at them, but making them obvious. So you're not allowing other people to project onto you because you see their potential. Because the moment you tap into your potential and you bring who you are to the outside, it gives less and less opportunity for people to project onto you whatever they want. Because there's hard evidence, the externally observable facts of this is who you are. And it's so much harder for a person to project onto you whoever they want you to be when the facts show them over and over again that you are who you want to be. Remember, if you're ready to take it to the next level, then check out the amazing Black Friday offers. These are the best Black Friday offers I have had yet. So you'll either get the Financial Abundance course for free if you join Bootcamp. Remember, our live call is November 29th on INFJ Physical Energy Management. So this is Pillar 1. It's the perfect time to start. And if you want to get the Financial Abundance course separately, then you'll get the 10 principles on INFJ Energy Management for free. So check out the offers through the links in the description. Remember, they're only valid until the end of November. And like always, if you want to watch a video that is in alignment with today's topic, then check out the video you see on the screen right now. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.